Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
2015 is almost here, and with it comes those New Year's resolutions to finally transform your body the way you want it. There's a reason over 88% of New Year's resolutions fail. Make this year different by equipping yourself with Oxy Powder, the next level in cleansing the body naturally. Using super oxygenation, Oxy Powder, available through InfoWarsLife.com, gently cleanses the body while you sleep with easy capsules. InfoWars Nightly News Director Rob Dew has been using Oxy Powder with incredible success.
Took it that first day, then I took it for 6 more days after that. 12 pounds melted off in about a week. I'd say a week, 7 days. And I've been able to keep it off too. My wife was like, wow, you look really good. And I'm like, I know, I guess it's this Oxy Powder.
2015 can be different. Diet and exercise are important, but a lot of us have already tried that. Oxy Powder flushes it out. Secure your Oxy Powder at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Sold out for weeks due to the difficult and extensive proprietary process behind its creation, the exclusive InfoWars Life Secret 12 formulation is now back in stock in the last limited shipment of 2014. The most bioactive form that has been created with our proprietary process. This ultra-clean vitamin B12 nutraceutical has been carefully crafted and developed over the last 2 years and is based on cellular science of how your body actively absorbs essential nutrients. Secret 12 is taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Vitamin B12 deficiency is linked to scores of serious problems. And Secret 12 is a fusion of 2 organic proprietary forms of vitamin B12, bringing you a true nutraceutical quality vitamin B12. Secret 12 is an excellent Christmas gift. Secure your Secret 12 formula before December 17th at InfoWarsLife.com and receive it before Christmas guaranteed. That's InfoWarsLife.com before December 17th or by calling 888-253-3139.
Several months back, I started taking your Nason Iodine and your Super Meal. Prior to this, I was barely walking. Now I'm able to function as a human again.
InfoWarsLife.com. You've heard the callers to the show.
Your products are great. I use DNA Force. I use X2,
Thank you.
Super Male Vitality, and Lung Cleanse. Every day, they're great stuff.
Whether it's Survival Shield, Nascent Iodine, or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shield, Oxy Powder, I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com.
Dash 2. Just amazing what it's able to do to actually detox the body. It's great stuff.
Check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host. We're taking calls at 800-259-9231. We're going to go back to those calls in just a moment. Before we do, I want to let you know about a 2-day-only special we have, just today and tomorrow. And that is the Essential Holiday Health Pack. It's Secret 12, X2 Nascent Iodine, and Silver Bullet for only $59.99. That is $79.90, nearly 57% off of the retail price of what would normally be $139.85. It's available for only 2 days, today and tomorrow. And, of course, if you get anything from InfoWarsLife.com by tomorrow, that is guaranteed delivery before Christmas. Again, that's a 3-pack of our most crucial nutraceutical formulas, Secret 12, that's a B12 formula, Survival Shield X2, our iodine, and Silver Bullet. It's the way we support our operation, and we thank you this time of year with some Christmas specials. So that's just a 2-day special. It's one of our biggest specials we've ever done. I want to go back to your calls, but before I do, I just wanted to point out just the amazing news that we see in this article. If you didn't catch the first hour, we talked to Paul Joseph Watson about his article. It's up on Infowars.com. Police are using social media posts to determine your threat score. Your threat score. So they're notified when they pull you over if you're a bigger threat to them than the general public, which are already trained to be a threat to them. And of course, this is based on things like your social media post, your purchasing habits. Who knows what it's based on? And we also talked about a story of some, and I forget what location that was, but it was a couple of former police officers who were indicted because they tried to set up some city councilmen who weren't funding the police department the way the police department wanted to be funded. They were hired by a legal firm that represented it was in California, 120 different police unions in California. They hired these two guys to get dirt on these councilmen, and what they did was they followed them from a bar to home and then called up as snitches and said, hey, these guys drove home drunk. However, they didn't have anything to drink at the bar. They had non-alcoholic drinks, and they were not drunk, and this whole thing is turning into an indictment for those officers. Also, we've just learned that there is now a new Surgeon General that's been confirmed by the Senate Democrats. All the Democrats essentially voted for him. There was only one Republican who voted for his confirmation. The man is Vivek Murthy. He was confirmed by 51-43 vote yesterday. The LA Times reminds us that he believes that guns are, quote, a health care issue. Back in October 2012, Murthy tweeted that he was, quote, tired of politicians playing politics with guns and putting lives at risk because they're scared of the NRA. No, it's because politicians understand that we have God-given rights that are specifically protected in the Constitution, and those are not negotiable. We have some people who have showed up in Washington State. Now, of course, this is where we had the video yesterday of the sheriff's deputy talking about how they needed the MRAPs for constitutionalists, and there's been a pushback against that by the sheriff, essentially attacking InfoWars as being just a conspiracy site. Well, you can look at that video yourself, and you can see whether those comments are out of context. They're not. But meanwhile, in Washington State, there's something else going on. In Olympia, Washington, Gavin Symes, quote, we will not comply, unquote, pro-gun rally happened with between 1,000 and 3,000 people who showed up. Now, they're protesting a new law that just passed in the last election. That's Initiative 594, which, among other things, now requires gun owners to obtain a background check before transferring a handgun to another party, person to person. At the moment the law became effective at midnight, December 4th, a YouTube aggregator called Laughing at Liberals, I like that, LAL, Laughing at Liberals, posted a video showing just such a transfer taking place without the requisite background check. Now, of course, that's not being covered by the mainstream media, but that's something else that's going on in Washington. I guess that's some of those people that the sheriff is so concerned about, people who might transfer a weapon from one person to the other. And, of course, should we have licensing checks and background checks for people to exercise their First Amendment? Well, that's something that's been proposed by the Obama administration, but that hasn't. They've hinted at that, and of course, we've seen persecution of the First Amendment like we've never seen it before. One more thing on the gun issue. As we look at Sandy Hook, we've noted a lot of anomalies. Wolfgang Halbig has noted a lot of anomalies about the Sandy Hook shooting, to say the least. One of the things that was very unusual about it was that none of the families had sued. In every other case that Wolfgang had analyzed, the families would always sue for negligence, sue the school system or sue the police department. None of that happened until now. But they're not suing the government. They're suing the gun maker. The Bushmaster company, the company that made the Bushmaster, is being sued by all of the families. They're not going to sue anybody for negligence. They're just going to sue the gun maker. So I guess we should start suing the car companies when somebody has an accident. But, of course, there's a lot more to Sandy Hook than that. Let's go back to your calls. Caleb in Washington, you called about the sheriff in Washington. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was calling. I actually reside in Spokane Valley, and the sheriff is named Ozzie Knezovich. Mm-hmm. And I'd just like to point out that when you think of Washington State, you think of a liberal state. But over on the east side of Washington State, it's actually very conservative. A lot of farmers here.
Is that where he is? Where that sheriff is?
Yes, he's in Spokane Valley. It's right on the border with Idaho there. And to be fair, he has kept a high standard for his officers. He's actually been in quite a lot of trouble with the police union because he's gone on record firing deputies for poor behavior. But I found it interesting that in the local news here, he went on record saying that the officer misspoke. It should not have used the word constitutionalist, and perhaps extremists was a better word for the type of people that the officer was talking about.
Well, you saw the video. Do you think it was taken out of context?
I do not. And I'd like to point out that constitutionalist isn't a word that's...
yeah, exactly.
It's not thrown around very often.
Yeah. Where did he get that?
Common vernacular.
Where did he get that? We know precisely where he got that. We've seen the reports. We've seen the training documents. We've heard the rhetoric from police departments across the country. We know where this is coming from. It's coming from Homeland Security. It's coming from the FBI. It's coming from the federal government. They're training your local police department to be militarized, to see you as a threat, and to see you as someone that needs to be put down. And, of course, anybody that talks about the Constitution, that's somebody that they need to be concerned about. Those are political enemies they perceive of their agenda. It says more about their agenda than it does about us, I believe.
Absolutely. I'd just like to also say there's going to be a rally on Saturday at the Spokane Valley Police office.
Okay,
so
good.
Anybody that's upset about this issue, show up.
Yes, and they can see the sheriff's reaction as well as our comments to it on that article on Infowars.com. And I believe that article also mentions that rally that's coming up on Saturday. Thank you so much, Caleb in Washington. Go to that rally. Tell your sheriff what you think. And, you know, unlike a chief of police, a sheriff actually has to stand for election. That's an important thing. So keep that in mind. Let's go to Max in Ohio. Max?
Hey, David.
Hey, how you doing?
I was going to comment. I was going to tell you about the Sandy Hook thing. I heard that on Dr. Savage's show yesterday on the news report. Maybe Bushmaster needs to hire Wolfgang Howard to be their investigator for him.
Well, maybe if he gets a lot of big money behind him, he can actually get somebody to respond to some of his FOIA requests other than sending highway patrolmen to his house to try to intimidate him. But yeah, it's very strange. And I don't know if you saw the debate that we had on InfoWars. I think it was on last Friday. But yeah, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions, and of course, many things that we see happening as part of a false flag. There's things that we see being done over and over again. Buildings being taken down, the debris being taken away before anybody gets a chance to take a look at it. We saw that at 9/11. We also saw that with the false flags that Vladimir Putin used to get into power. They use the same types of things over and over again. And immediately when there's a terrorist attack and they have solved it, they know which group it is, and they're going to come after that group, as we saw with the Vladimir Putin false flags. They immediately pinned it on the Chechens and used it to start a short war where he could declare victory. Yeah, when we see that kind of thing, every government seems to use that. Certainly the most corrupt and criminal ones, and that's something that we see happening with our government. Did you have any other comment about that?
Well, for one, I think the Sandy Hook thing, that's pretty gutsy, man, especially with everything that Wolfgang Howard's pointed out. I mean, you figured that would open them up even more. But then I don't know how much Bushmaster's worth or how much they're seeking damages, but, you know, sometimes they just settle just to put it under the rug, and it's time for people to start standing up and fighting this stuff and exposing it even more. Well,
you know, it's interesting because when they sue the company, they don't have to go into the details of the shooting that much, as they would if they were suing for negligence, the school system or the police department. Then they would have to talk specifically about what was there, and that would uncover some of that. But with this allows them to do an end around and just essentially come after the company that was named as having the gun that was used. It allows them to go after them without really looking at the details of Sandy Hook. So it is kind of an ingenious ingenious strategy. We see that happening over and over again. Thank you so much. Let's go on to Dean in Florida. Dean?